Skipping through your pages.
Skipping through my pages, my long list of notes here. So Black Mountain's Destroyer. It's only an 8-track album, so quite short. It's actually only 42 minutes long. This was released on the 24th of May 2019. It is the 6th studio album from Black Mountain, who I would describe as prog rockers. I think that's fair to say.
Yes, it is. Yeah, like psychedelic prog rock, I guess.
Yeah. I kind of missed the last 2 albums. However, kind of well acquainted with, I think, the first self-titled album, In the Future, and Wilderness Heart, but I kind of missed the last 2. So I haven't listened to them in quite a while. It's alright, but overall quite underwhelming.
There's
points.
There's bits and pieces on here that I really like. And it's really, I know we said it's sort of prog psychedelica, but there's a lot of classic rock on there as well.
Absolutely.
Sort of big rock and roll riffs, classic rock solos. You've got that sort of dual guitars that Iron Maiden do and Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a bit of Sabbath on here as well. There's even maybe a bit of the Doors and the Rolling Stones at points.
Well, it's interesting you say the Rolling Stones, because track 5, Pretty Little Lazies, the kind of opening bars reminded me of Painted Black.
I found that for... yeah, no, I've said that. I was about to say I found that for a different track, but no, it is Pretty Little Lazies.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was a bit of T-Rex in there as well.
Most probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which track it is off the top of my head.
But there's a lot of that stuff, these sort of things peppered throughout these tracks. The first track, Future Shade, gives you a sort of idea that classic rock kind of influences. That sounds sort of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. I wasn't a huge fan of the vocals on the opening track. They felt a bit amateurish at times.
Right, okay.
I found it difficult to pick out some of the lyrics, and there wasn't a lot to sort of hook on to and sing along with on a lot of the songs, to be fair. There was a bit of synths thrown in, a sort of dueling guitar solo at the end of that track, and following song Horns Arising is a sort of more sort of grinding stoner rock, and then they've got some weird auto-tuning vocals. There's a bit of sci-fi sort of synth thrown in there as well, but I mean there's some good head-banging riffs and decent sort of crooning solos, but it kind of completely changes about the halfway point into almost a sort of acoustic fairy tale. It reminded me of sort of Stairway to Heaven at times, with a sort of kind of panpipe kind of sound.
Well, I would say it's quite similar to Tyrants from their second album. It's quite similar, and they've got the kind of panpipes and Tyrants as well, so it's obviously something they quite like using. They
take that classic rock sound and add a ton of fuzz and distortion to it, rather than the sort of the cleaner sound of like Led Zeppelin or like Iron Maiden. There's a lot more fuzz and sort of grime on it.
Yeah.
They remind me a bit of a band called the One and Only People Mover. Have you heard?
No.
Heard of this?
I think I've heard. Is that the guys that dress up like Yetis?
Yeah. So they're basically, I think there's 2 of them that dress up as Yetis, and then the other one is like supposed to be like their zookeeper.
Okay.
And they've escaped, and he's trying to catch them.
Right.
But instead of catching them, they just all play rock and roll music together, and it's got the same sort of big stomping drums and fuzzy riffs, and there's a bit of voice manipulation and stuff on there. People Mover just released an album this year as well. It's not that good, but if you go back to their like first EP, that's quite good. The opening track, People Mover, on that is really good.
Right.
So they're worth checking out as an aside. Then you've got Closer to the Edge.
Just a total throwaway song, really.
It is, but it's like you're travelling through space or down a wormhole or something.
Yeah.
And it's just an interlude. It's not a proper song.
Yeah. It never really amounts to anything. It was over before I'd realised it begun, to be honest. It's three minutes long, just under 3 minutes, kind of 2:53. However, it does get a wee bit of a reprise later on in the album.
So on track 7, so second to last track, License to Drive.
Yeah.
Which very much to me sounds like a sort of Black Sabbath kind of tribute almost. Some of the vocals even sound a little bit like Ozzy Osbourne, and it's it's got a bit of a thrash aesthetic as well. So it's not a bad song. And then you've got a kind of cool callback to the electronics of Closer to the Edge. So it's a nice touch, whether you're into Closer to the Edge or not. High Rise is the track where I feel like there's a sort of Doors vibe, maybe just with a bit more of a grunt to it. There's more of a sort of vocal moment in this sort of repeated High Rise lyrics that you can catch onto a little bit and join in with. But it does feel like just that drug-induced trip. This sort of thing where you look at your hands and the ends of your fingers ping off into the distance or something like that. And it reminded me, for whatever reason, of a scene in the film Zoolander where they all take peyote or something and end up in a massive orgy. And there's like they're all going around an orgy and there's sort of this fat Chinese guy that joins in. That all I can get is the image of the fat Chinese guy like laughing.
So is that somehow in keeping with like the Doors reference, because obviously they're kind of quite a trippy band, or were quite a trippy band back in the day. Doors of Perception, which is where they get their name from.
Oh, okay.
Aldous Huxley book.
Is it?
I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Aldous Huxley, yeah.
Yeah, that's where the name comes from. To be fair, the High Rise is probably my favourite song. Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's maybe the only song where you can kind of hook on to the lyrics. Loneliest Cock in the Sky being one of them. Said with absolutely no irony or kind of, they weren't trying to be tongue-in-cheek or anything like that, I don't think.
Yeah, it's difficult. There may be other points where the lyrics of sort of lyrics that you could pick out, but I find it really hard to latch on to. The vocals are kind of lost a little bit.
In amongst all the reverb and the buzz of the guitars and synth,
there's quite a bit of instrumentation to enjoy.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned before, Pretty Little Lazies is a bit like Rolling Stones Painted Black. There's Boogie Lover, which is basically just a 70s porno theme song.
Well, I've written in my notes, opens with a fat bass line. Fat being spelled PH.
Yeah,
quite enjoyed that.
But it is kind of a song you feel, if you're listening to that with the windows down in your car, you might feel slightly embarrassed to listen to. It sounds like you're watching a 70s porno. There's like this sort of weird guitar and organ flourishes you might expect to hear and that kind of thing as well, so it's a bit odd. But ultimately the closing track, FD72, is my favourite track, I think. And it very much... I'm not a fan of David Bowie. David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Not a fan of David Bowie, but the vocals are quite Bowie-esque.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a homage to David Bowie.
And he even references The Man Who Fell to Earth, which is a David Bowie film. It builds in a similar way to Radiohead's song Freak. I don't know if you felt that. It's got that kind of build that ultimately Radiohead's Freak kind of explodes into a sort of rage at the end, but it's got that sort of slow build up to that point. It's dark, it's foreboding, it's uncomfortable. There's a bit of a sort of Lost Boys vibe, thinking like Cry Little Sister sort of thing, and sort of shades of Echo and the Bunnymen's The Killing Moon as well. There's that sort of gothic vibe.
Yeah.
And then whilst it doesn't build to quite the climax that Radiohead's Freak might, it does have some sort of screeching guitar lines at the end which are really quite good. So it's a good ending to the album. Definitely the standout track for me.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I mean, like I said, High Rise and this one's probably the two standout tracks for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the whole, out of the albums we've reviewed so far, it's the one that I've went back to the least amount of times.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone back to it a few times for the purpose of doing this, but I don't know if I really would otherwise. It's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, I suppose if you're a fan of Black Mountain, I would say in particular the first two albums, because Wilderness Heart, their third album, which I think was released around about 2010. It's the one with the big Great White in it. It looks as if it's coming through a window or something. It's quite strange. Okay. It did feel different from the first two. I can't comment on the fourth and fifth album because I haven't listened to them, but I feel as if this is maybe a return to the stuff that they've done previously, but maybe not as good. Interestingly, I think there's only 2 of the original members left.
Really?
I think there's been quite a few changes over the last few years. Stephen McBean, I think that's how you pronounce McBain. Don't know how you pronounce his surname, but the lead vocalist and I think the original keyboardist are the only 2 surviving members.
Okay. I mean, I don't really have any context for the rest of Black Mountain stuff because I haven't gone back and listened to any of that stuff. It's just this album, and I mean, it's not bad. I don't hate it. If you like this kind of thing, psychedelic rock, bit of classic rock, some heavy metal, that kind of stuff, then you might be into it.
Yeah.
And if most of the songs are quite long, other than maybe the sort of interlude track, they're all about 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 4 or 5 minutes.
Which is quite long, and okay, they do mix it up within the songs a bit, but sometimes it can get a little repetitive. But if that's your jam, then you might be well into this.
Yeah, and I suppose a lot of kind of prog rock's like that anyway, isn't it, really, when you think about it? So, yeah, if you're a fan of that type of thing, it's worth a listen. What would you rate it if you were to rate it?
A 7? Is that generous?
I think that's too generous. If I'm honest, I'm reluctant to give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably 6. To be honest, 6 out of 10.
I guess I gave it a 7 because I didn't really want to shit all over it because I don't think it's a bad album. It's not. I don't know if it's
your maybe not your thing.
My thing particularly.
But
there's some stuff on there that I enjoy. So maybe a 6 is more accurate.
Cool.